I have a very interesting career. I am a seabird vet. I'm a penguin vet. It is a real job. And so a lot of wildlife vets, or a lot of people who think about a wildlife vet career, think about working with rhinos and lions. And that's exactly what I thought when I was qualifying. But working with seabirds is quite an amazing career, because not only am I working with endangered species, contributing to conservation in the wild, but we have some of the best patients in terms of wild animals. Penguins are they're really good patients in terms of the fact that they're tough. They can overcome really adverse conditions. They can really get better from nasty wounds, and they can have a normal life in the wild. So we can run a hospital where what I do is not just big picture conservation, but individual animal care, helping with the welfare of individual animals, which will then contribute to the wild. So I can run a hospital like this and do veterinary surgery as well as wildlife work, which is amazing. So our seabird rehabilitation process at Sanccob starts when birds need extra help from people. So if they would have died in the wild, we try to give them that second chance to be released and have a normal life again. So somebody will rescue them on the beach. That might be members of the public or people who work in the colonies, our rangers. They bring them to us, and then our first step is to evaluate them, see what sort of treatment they need. That's really the vet's role. We keep them here in our ICU rooms in our seabird hospital. We slowly nurse them back to health, and then they go through a rehabilitation process where they get fit enough to release, and eventually we put them back in the wild into the natural habitat. We are particularly concerned about unsustainable fishing and the lack of natural food in the wild for these birds to live and to raise their chicks. But there are lots of other problems: entanglement in fishing nets, pollution, things like oil spills, but also pharmaceuticals in the water, and a host of other problems. There's so many things that people have done to affect the natural ecosystem in our oceans, and all of those have negative effects on the species. The penguin is the top of the food chain, and so everything that affects the whole food chain may affect the penguin. So they're really the canary in the coal mine, and when they're doing badly, we know the rest of the ecosystem is also suffering. We have an African penguin as just one of the many birds that we're looking after in our ICU at the moment, and he was admitted to Sanccob with a nasty wound on the top of the hock that was probably caused by a predator in the wild, although we never really know what happened out there. But he had a nasty infection, an injury. It caused an infection of his joint, and we've been managing that wound for a few weeks now with bandaging, with painkillers, with antibiotics to get that infection under control. The wound is healed very nicely now, and now the next step is to give injections into the joint. These are antibiotic injections which will treat the infection, and when the infection is under control, then we can do surgery. So 506, we can see here his main problem is the hock joint. So this is the hock joint that's affected, and there's the normal hock joint. And the tendons inside this joint have been badly damaged. It's probably most likely we'll have to amputate the foot because it's not improving. So what we're doing first is controlling the bacterial infection, and when that's under control, we'll do surgery and we'll amputate all those bones. So he'll just have the leg bone left. It's amazing that African penguins can live in the wild without a foot and just with a stump. It's a bit like a pirate, but because they use their flippers for swimming, and that's how they get around most of the time, they can still catch fish, they can still look after themselves, and they can also maneuver on land with the stump, and that means that they can lay eggs, they can raise chicks. And so we've got a few penguins out in the wild who successfully raise chicks every year with a stump like this.